You can go to prison for not taking the vaccine. It's funny. You invite someone like that on your show, and then he says something like that out loud with a television camera in the room, and you don't pause and say, "Ooh, excuse me, that's lunacy. That's fascism." No one says anything. Oh, of course, yeah. Court-martials for anyone who refuses to take an experimental vaccine to stop a pandemic that has already ended. What's going on here? It's so obviously unnecessary that it's vindictive. And it makes you wonder, what is this really about? At the very moment that the risk for young people of dying of the coronavirus has hit essentially zero, they're telling us that young people, soldiers, should be arrested and go to jail if they don't submit to the vaccine. They're telling you that you will wind up in a government database if you don't comply, and the government agents could be showing up and knocking on your door. What is happening here? What is this about? Sincere question. Alex Berenson has thought more about this and more clearly than anyone we know. He's a best-selling author. You know him well from this show, we hope. He joins us now. Alex, what is this? At exactly the moment you'd think they'd be pulling back a little bit, they got 67% of American adults to take it. That's a huge number, as far as I can tell. They can't stand that 33% haven't. Why?
Well, I mean, Tucker, I'd push back a little bit on the 67% number, because if you look at adults of working age, it's really about 50-50. It's 18 to 65. So it seems pretty clear that they thought they were going to be able to
that went over my head. We just pulled that. We thought we were reading it correctly off their website. What does that mean? What's the real number?
So most people, the vast majority of people over 65 have taken the vaccine,
right,
which makes sense. The risk benefit for them to take the vaccine is better. It's more in their favor. So if you look at actual working age adults, it's only about 50% have taken the vaccine.
Okay.
And that means that the idea that these guys were depending on corporate pressure. They didn't want to have a federal mandate. They thought that they could convince companies to, airlines were not going to carry people, or they were going to make their flight attendants take the vaccine. Well, in a labor market that's tight, if half the adults of working age have not taken the vaccine, companies will back down. And you're sort of seeing that a little bit around the edges, which means they don't have the leverage they want. But listen, I'm sort of a small mind thinker. You're a big mind thinker. You're thinking philosophically. I just think this is crazy in that the risk-benefit ratio of the vaccines appears to be getting worse almost by the week right now. We're seeing vaccine failure on a large scale in Israel and the UK and Scotland. We are seeing there's all this myocarditis here and everywhere else the mRNA vaccines are given. Why push this? And as you said, it looks like the pandemic is winding down in general. Although, again, in the UK, actually, cases are way up as the vaccines apparently begin to fail. And so why push it now? I think that's a really, really good question. And whether it's pure vindictiveness or whether it's something else, I don't know. I mean, I'm always reminded of the Santa Ana quote that the fanatic is the person who redoubles his effort when he's lost his aim. And it does seem like these people have just lost their aim and are just pushing harder and harder. But I will tell you this. They're talking about booster shots for people. They're talking about a third dose, possibly more doses. I spoke to somebody today, and this is on my Substack, which people can go read if they want, which is nice because it's totally exempt from Twitter or Amazon. It's my own direct connection to readers. I interviewed somebody today who said, I've signed up for the trial. I got 2 doses. I signed up for the booster trial. I got a third dose. My third dose was much worse than the first 2. I dropped out of the trial when they asked me if I wanted a 4th dose. And so if this is somebody who's pro-vaccine, signed up for the trial, and didn't want a third dose, I can't imagine what hesitancy is going to look like nationally when they try to push that.
Yeah, I mean, they're leaving aside the science, which you have written about, I think, so incisively and honestly. Their behavior is scaring the hell out of people. This is so crazy that it's shaking the faith that most Americans, I think, had, maybe still have, in vaccines. Like, why are they acting like this? This is nuts.
It is nuts. And I mean, again, I don't have a good answer for that. I tend not to believe in conspiracy. I tend to believe people, there's somebody in a room in HHS saying, hey, we got to get to 70% by hook or by crook. We're not there. What are we going to do? But, with every day that goes by, when they lie about the myocarditis data, the pericarditis data, when they lie about, a potential third booster being needed, it becomes harder just to think that this is, these are mistakes. I don't know what the answer is, Tucker.
No, I don't either. The fact they're doing it to college students is one of the great outrages of my life. I will say that. Alex Berenson, great to see you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.